Hello, everybody. It's Sandra from Inspire Keys, and this is the very basic main stage course. And if you are joining us, I would love to say a huge welcome to you. And I am very excited that you're here. So if you are here, I would love it if you could just type into the chat box and let me know that you could hear me. Everything is working well, and very shortly we're just going to get started. So yeah, let us know who you are, what your name is, where you're from, and in a short while I'll be giving you a shout out. So guys, the very basic main stage course started because I want to give you a bit of a history of why I decided to do this. Basically back in, I think it was 2013, 2014, I've already heard about Mainstage for quite a while now. And back during those years, I was serving in a church. And there was this guy who's really, really like advanced. And then he started using Mainstage already. So he ran this course for us, just for like the small little team of worship keyboardists in a church, right? Because we weren't a really big church. And there were like, I think 4 of us, like 4 or 5. It was a tiny little group. And so we all went to church and we were able to use the entire hall. He's got a sound system set up. He showed us exactly what to do, what to connect with what. And then we all kind of huddled in front of his laptop. And then we went to like look at exactly how he did stuff. And then he showed us some stuff which did sound really, really cool. And from that course, like ironically, instead of going like, cool, I want to do main stage, I felt like, gosh, I can't handle this. Yeah. I think the truth is sometimes when something's so good, it appears frightening, right? Like, so we end up feeling like I'll never be able to do it. I felt like that. And so actually after that, I just completely shelved the idea of trying out main stage. I just felt like there were too many things that I don't know about, and I wasn't sure, like, I didn't want to look stupid asking silly questions. And you know what, guys, that was just silly. Like on hindsight, I just wish I started earlier, because the sounds I made were really that you can make from main stage is fantastic. And so that's what this is for, guys. So if you're watching this and you feel the same way, I'd really like you to ask in the comments section, because today's idea is not only just to teach you guys, but to answer your questions. Because I've been there and I was like, I don't know who to ask. I feel silly. Now, here is like a caveat. I am not a Mainstage expert, right? I'm just a regular keyboardist who tried on Mainstage and who uses it well enough to make some good sounds. But if you're asking me advanced questions, like how do you make your own patch, right? How do you make a patch for Lion and the Lamb and sell it? I can't. I don't do that. I don't know how to do it yet. Well, I might one day try it, but that's why I named the course Very Basic Mainstage Course. It's not for you guys if you are already an expert, but it's for you if you feel freaked out about the idea and you're like, I'll never be able to do it. I want to prove to you that it's very, very simple. So stay tuned, because that's coming up real soon. And I just wanted to point you to the description box below. You can get access to the notes or the handouts that I will be sharing from in the description box. Just click that link. And also, I will be using 2 very highly worldwide popular Mainstage templates, and they are Worship Essentials as well as Sunday Keys. So these 2 Mainstage templates are fantastic. I'm going to give you a demo. You will hear for yourself how fantastic they sound. And I want to tell you about the discount codes. So go straight to the bottom at the description box below. I also have details on how you can get 10% off Sunday Keys or Worship Essentials, and the specific links to use and the discount codes to use. So make sure not to miss that out as well. So, okay, guys, a quick overview of what I will be talking about. I just want to show everybody how simple it is in terms of hardware, in terms of software, and once you get everything ready, how to set it up so that you can make some really fantastic sounds. In between, I will be taking Q&As, so I really welcome you to ask questions anytime, guys. The reason why I want you to watch in this YouTube channel platform is so that you could access the chat box. And I am keeping track of the chat box. I do see your questions, and I really want to answer them. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So I'm going to start with hardware. So guys, hardware, really, really simple. All I have here is really just a few things, right? So let's talk about some of the big stuff first. I've actually got everything in front of me, but I haven't connected everything because I wanted to show you guys how I connect it. So, and it's really not rocket science. So one of the first things you need is this. Okay. So it's, as you can see, I am not a very strong person, but I am able to lift it up. It is a MIDI controller, and this is basically someone once used the term dummy keyboard, right? Dummy in the sense that this keyboard has nothing in the keyboard itself to produce the sound. So it's different from like a Yamaha Motif, for example, where the sounds come with the keyboard. And that also explains why those keyboards are really heavy. So I grew up for years playing worship keys in churches that use these traditional keyboards, right? You go to church and you're limited by what's available on those keyboards. And what I used to do was I would have to go to church like half an hour early so that I have enough time to put on those earphones, scroll through the bank, decide what sounds I like, figure out how to save that instrument, figure out how to recall that instrument real quick, and load up a sound, hopefully, and then create the nicest possible sound for worship, right? So that used to be the case. But with Mainstage, it's a different story now. You could actually do everything at home, show up at rehearsal, set up, and you're ready to rock and roll. So what I have is the Novation launch key, and I have a previous video about a review of the Novation launch key. It's not a perfect keyboard, but it gets the job done. I like it. I've had it for about 2 years plus now, and it hasn't let me down. I will be setting it up as I go to church and serve on the 24th of June later this month. So I'm very excited about trying that. So that's the hardware. So of course, the things that come with the keyboard will be all the other stuff that I probably don't need to talk about, but I just want to quickly mention. And that's the keyboard stand, which I could just show you, but really it's just right here. It's just where my keyboard's sitting on. And then a sustain pedal. So that's just the stuff that come with the keyboard. Now, let's talk about some other stuff that you need when you use Mainstage. So Mainstage is an Apple-only software, which also means that you will need to invest in a MacBook if you haven't already. So I did have a MacBook when I first wanted to start, but then that was getting really old. So I decided that I really needed to invest in it. So it's not cheap, but I will say that having had this MacBook Pro that's sitting in front of me that I'm staring at right now for like, I think it's been also 2.5 years or something, it's just been a game changer. It's a very, very wonderful laptop. It's very stable. It's a big investment up front, but I think it's going to last you many years. And the best part, it can be used with Mainstage. So something to consider if you could. Okay, guys. So yeah, I just plugged in my little microphone here. So let me know in the comments, in the chat, if you can hear me nicer now, because I am plugged into my Rode Smart Lav microphone at the moment. So, yep, you need a MacBook. And when I was shopping for a MacBook in the Apple Store, initially I was really all out for a MacBook Air because it's cheaper, it's lighter, and I'm all for light, right? Because I'm just a girl and I don't really want to like break my shoulder when I carry my laptop bag and stuff. But then I did find out that the specs for the MacBook Air is a lot less than the MacBook Pro. And I figured, you know what, the last thing I want is to be on stage and really, really having an awesome worship session using Mainstage, and then it crashes, right? So I decided, let's just pay a little bit more and let's get a better laptop. And so far, it hasn't crashed on me. There has been other kinds of Mainstage problems, which I will get into later. Remind me to answer them or ask them if I forget to talk about it. But I will say that it's been a wonderful investment, guys. So if you don't have a MacBook, please get one. And I recommend the MacBook Pro because it has better specs. I guess I'm a girl. I'm not really good at techie stuff. I can't throw the RAMs and the gigs and all those terminologies, but I will tell you that it is a lot more stable than a MacBook Air. Okay, so you need a MacBook, Apple computer of some sort. Okay, next, you need something to communicate between the keyboard and the laptop. Now, this used to be the one factor that just drives me crazy, because I'm like, I have no idea how to connect to, right? And previously, I used to have one of those really, really old generation keyboards where I think it was a Yamaha XS6, right? And I looked at the back of the keyboard, and there were just 1,000 sockets. That didn't help. And it had this old meaty plug head, the one where it's round with many little needles in. And that just freaked me out, because I firstly have no idea where to buy that cable. And secondly, I'm just like, how do you even use this? Nobody ever showed it to me before. Using the keyboard that I had then, which was the XS6. So that just put me off. But guys, if you have a keyboard that is relatively new, and for example, my Novation Launch Key has it, you just need to look for a keyboard that has one of these. Yeah, you can see it right there. So it is a square USB plug head, right? So like this one. Yeah, so you just need to look for a keyboard that has that. And then you just need to walk into a hardware store and buy a USB cable like this, which should not be very expensive. And I just wanted to show you exactly the two heads. So one's the square one, this one goes into the keyboard, and one head is the rectangle one that goes into the laptop. And that's all you need. This cable is also called the printer USB cable because it works for printers. So go into a hardware store, ask for a printer USB cable, get a keyboard that has one of those sockets, and you're ready to roll, guys. So pretty much ready, because really, guys, all you gotta do is just connect that onto the keyboard and onto the laptop, let them communicate. They will instantly talk to each other. And then you just need something to hear yourself, right? Because the laptop produces these cool sounds from Mainstage, but then you have no idea if it sounds good if you're just using those laptop speakers. So what I highly recommend is to either just use earphones, because earphones are awesome. They channel the sound straight into your ears and you can hear everything clearly. Or you could invest in a portable speaker. So I have here this is what I'm going to be using. This is what I always use in all of my videos, guys. It's just a portable speaker that I have around the house. This is a Bose SoundLink. It's an ancient model, guys. There's so many new ones out there now, but it gets the job done. It gets the sound pretty nice and loud. Perhaps there's just one tip that I do want to tell you about using something like a Bluetooth-enabled portable speaker, and that is try to use an audio cable to connect that to your laptop. So an audio cable, in case you don't know, let me hang on a second. Let me just tidy up these cables. You might hear some crackling. Okay, so an audio cable is really just one of those simple cables where it's got two heads that are the same. The ones that you plug into your phone, your earphone jack and stuff. So the reason why I recommend these cables is because when you play on Mainstage, you're going to hear the sound directly coming out from your portable speakers instead of having a lag. So once I tried to connect my laptop to my portable speakers through Bluetooth, and what I found out was that there was a lag. So every time I played a note, the sound happened like 3/4 of a second later, which is not nice, right? Dang, dang. Yeah, that's not what we want in music. It's got to be as instant as possible. So that's why I recommend these audio cables. And guys, that's it. Okay, I am pretty much done with the hardware segment. It's 9:17, so I've really talked for not a very long time. At this Stage, I can see that there are some viewers with us. I would love it if you could type into the chat and let all of us know your name, where you come from, and don't wait till the Q&A to ask questions, okay? Just pop your questions, if you have any, into the chat box, because I want to make sure to answer them along the way so that you could, get enlightened instead of having to wait all the way to the end. So this is what I'm going to do right now, okay? If you want to see exactly how I do this, you can access the full Very Basic Mainstage course, which is inside the Inspired Keys Academy. But at this moment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach everything together. And you can then see for yourself, just with a few things, you can get Mainstage up and running. So audio cable, that goes into my laptop. I'm going to plug that in right now. All right, that's done. The other side of the audio cable goes into my portable speakers. I'm going to do that right now. In it goes. Okay, I haven't turned it on yet because I haven't loaded up Mainstage, so I wanted to save some electricity. Next up, I have my USB cable, the printer USB cable. So this side goes into the laptop. I'm going to plug that into the one on my right, on the right side of my MacBook Pro. And the other side, the square head, goes into my keyboard. So that's how you can see it. Yes, you can. Okay, you can barely see it, but you can. So that just goes in there. How do you do this like backwards? Ugh. Okay, now see what happens when I plug in my, oh, okay. Yeah, you see the red lights at the side of my Novation. So the keyboard basically comes to life with the plugging in to your laptop. That's just how wonderful it is. You don't even need to power up your keyboard, right? You just have to use the USB cable, type it in, plug it into your laptop, and it's alive. Yeah, there is absolutely no AC adapter or battery or charging needed with this MIDI controller. So even though it's a dummy keyboard, it doesn't have anything in the keyboard itself to make the sound. It comes to life once you connect it to a computer. And then the very last thing I'm doing is to connect the sustain pedal to my keyboard, which I won't need to show you because I'm sure you do this all the time if you're a keyboardist, right? So sustain pedal, head that just goes in, and I am done. I'm done with hardware, guys. So if you have any questions about hardware at this point, please ask in the question. Once again, I really welcome you guys to type and introduce yourselves. If you're watching from anywhere in the world, I'd love to give you a shout out, your name and which country you're from. And I will now go on with software. So for software, what you really need is obviously Mainstage, because that's the software we're talking about mainly. And software like Mainstage, you can just go straight to Google and just Google download Mainstage. And then it will just give you the link to the Apple Store. And you can just go to the Apple Store and download. You got to pay some money. I'm not sure how much it will be in your country, but it's not an expensive software. And every time you feel like, oh, you got to pay, okay, firstly, you can think upfront that it's an investment. Once you get it forever. You don't have to pay a subscription for it and pay monthly or yearly. You just pay it once off. And then secondly, if you feel like you really can't afford this, talk to someone in your church who's in charge of budgeting and tell them that, hey, this is really cool. It makes some really awesome sounds. It's a game changer for worship. It enhances the worship atmosphere. And I don't see why something that costs not like extremely expensive, right? We're not talking thousands of dollars. We're just talking about like USD $30, right? So talk to someone, and maybe your church can sponsor it, or maybe you could just download it for your church laptop or something. So get Mainstage, and then when you have Mainstage, you're going to open it up. You're going to try the different keyboard sounds, and then you might find it not very satisfying. Like me, when I first opened up Mainstage, I was like, cool, there are all these keyboard sounds. It almost looks a lot like my traditional keyboard, right? The kinds where you go to church and you just use whatever's in your keyboard, and you look through the bank and you try every sound. And then you go like, that's it, right? So from my experience, I'm not really impressed with the default main stage sounds. Yes, there are some nice ones occasionally because there's like hundreds and thousands of sounds, right? So you could just sit down for hours and try and try and try and try the sounds, and you could do that. But my experience having done that is that, yeah, okay, great. I find a grand total of 2 sounds that are good for worship, but it's just kind of like a default piano sound or an electric piano sound, or maybe one pad sound, and that's it. All the other stuff, all the other sounds are just like not usable in a worship setting. So that was frustrating because it's like, great, I now have a software, but I can't really use it. And then enter the main stage templates created by people at thatworshipsound.com. And they have this wildly popular main stage template called Worship Essentials. And then also enter people like David Falsgraf from sundaysounds.com, and he created the Sunday Keys template. So these 2 templates, guys, they are just wildly popular in the whole world. So seriously, tons of people watching this probably already use it. Once again, this course video is for people who have never done main stage and you are freaked out by it. And I wanted to show you how wonderful it is. So at this point, guys, I would like to say that if you really want to go straight on to some really, really awesome worship sounds, yes, you can go ahead and try the keyboard sounds in the default main stage, but I don't think they're the best. When you see what main stage templates like Worship Essentials and Sunday Keys can offer, you're probably going to go like, oh my gosh, I want that. So if you want to save time, go get either of the 2. So the rest of this video is for me to show you the sounds that those templates offer. And even then, it's going to take me like 5 hours to really, really show you every single sound. So I'm just going to give you like highlights, and even then there's a lot that these templates can offer. And if you want to see exactly how I load up everything, like completely on how it looks on my screen and stuff, go access the very basic Mainstage course complete version. It's inside the Inspired Keys Academy. But in the rest of this video, I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to play. You can hear the sounds, but you won't be able to see the screen, okay? So if you want to access the complete, very basic Mainstage course, I have great news for you. I'm doing a limited time 2-week trial for just $1 inside the Inspired Keys Academy. So the Inspired Keys Academy is a place where I have put all of my training videos, every single teaching video that I've ever created on worship keys. So if you are like a brand new keyboardist, maybe you are another instrumentalist, a drummer, a guitarist, and you just want to try doing worship keys, well, that's a great place to start because you can access all the videos that are already there. There are very basic stuff on introduction to scales, how to play them, what are chords, what are chord voicings that sound good. But then there are also new courses that I roll out. Recently, not only did I complete a very basic Mainstage course, which shows you exactly how to load up those templates and even how to plug in the hardware. You will see exactly how I do it. You can also access all of the 100 chord identification exercises that I also just did to help you learn how to play by ear. So if you're interested in that, then join the Academy. Use the discount code $trial, and all the information is at the bottom in the description box below. You can go to inspiredkeys.com/join, access it right now. Once you're a member, you can access it 24/7, no time restrictions. Just log in, have an internet connection, watch those videos, watch them on repeat if you must, and ask questions, because as Inspired Keys Academy members, you get to ask questions with priority, and I will answer your questions before I answer from the general audience. And another great way to improve real quick is to post a recording of how you play on our Academy members only Facebook group. Because in the Facebook group, that's where all the Academy members hang out and we can see each other, interact with each other and stuff. And when you post a video or even just an audio recording of how you play, I can instantly give you specific pointers on how to improve. So if you really want to take your worship keys playing to the next level, guys, join right now. Use the dollar trial code and join for $1 for 2 weeks and take it out, take it for a spin, see if you like it inside the academy. So right now, I'm going to go ahead with telling everybody about first worship essentials and then Sunday keys. Now, at this point, I do want to let you know that you get 10% off if you decide to get worship essentials or Sunday keys. And if you're interested in that, look below for exactly what link to use and what discount code to use, because you get 10% off for being an Inspired Keys audience. So at this point, guys, I see that we've got some people watching. Please feel free to type into the chat your name and which country you're in, and also what Mainstage questions you have, because that's the whole point, right? We're doing a YouTube live video so that I can ask your questions. And since you're watching live, you might as well just let everybody know who you are. Just say hi if you're shy about your name and your country. And I would love to have some company here. So guys, I'm going to get started with Mainstage, the first Mainstage template, and that is worship essentials. So I will describe to you what I'm doing right now. I am clicking Mainstage on my laptop. So I'm opening that up. Okay, once my Mainstage starts up, I just go to File, Open, and you might go to Open Recent if you've already done that before, because then it's, you know, a recently open file. Okay, so right now, as I'm speaking, my Mainstage is loading the concert, so it takes a while. And then now I'm looking at the Mainstage screen, and now because you're watching this on YouTube live as a free version, you don't get to see exactly how I connect everything. But if you want to know how I map stuff together, go to the very basic Mainstage course, the complete version inside the academy. You can do this for $1, guys, $1 for 2 weeks. Go check it out. So now I am about to connect my hardware to software. So I'm going to go to my layout tab, and all you got to do, guys, is to click on to the software and click the word assign till it's red in color, and then just touch that hardware so that it moves as you're doing that on the software, which is on the computer screen. And then what you will see is that you would have connected your hardware and software together. So right now I'm just kind of tweaking and changing my knobs, and I'm assigning my patches, I'm assigning my hardware, sliders and knobs and faders to specific things that I want. So I'm just connecting my first instrument, second, third, fourth, fifth. Once again, guys, if you want to see exactly how I do this, go to the complete, very basic Mainstage course, because I really want you to see how easy it is. And I'm also going to assign a drone pad. So I'm going to assign that to this one. Great. I've got tap tempo here. I've got the panic button. So I have just assigned the instruments. Okay, so I'm going to now turn on the sound, and I really hope you can hear it, guys, because I'm actually playing the sound right now out of my both SoundLink speakers. So please let me know if you can hear the sound. I can see that Yen Nguyen, I hope I got your name right, from Harrisonburg. Awesome having you. I'm not quite sure where VA is. I'm so sorry. Please let me know where you are. Pastor David Franklin's in the house. Hello, Pastor David. Great to have you again. He says, hi, Sandra. For me, it's good to hear the instruction about Mainstage again as much as I can. Yes, I would love to just repeat it as often as you need, because sometimes we just need to hear things a few times before we learn it. And I can say that because I was just like you. I needed to learn it multiple times, right? The first time I learned it, I chucked it aside. So I hope you don't make that mistake, because it's awesome. Oh, cool. Thanks so much, Yen. Yen is from Virginia. Woohoo! And Yen says, will do once I buy Mainstage. Well, yes, guys. Mainstage is just awesome. It's an investment, so don't think of it as, money, but think of it as cool, awesome worship sounds. So, okay, I'm on my worship essentials. And when you open worship essentials, on the left at the edit mode, you're going to see all of the patches that come ready But what I will recommend is not only that you spend time exploring each of those patches, but also explore the sounds of the individual layers or instruments, because what you can do that makes Mainstage very, very powerful is that you can layer the sounds together and you can combine different combinations of instruments like piano and pad, or pad and synth, or piano pad and synth, and arpeggios and synth bass. You can create really, really thick sounds. So one person can play like 6 instruments, actually probably 7. Now, Mainstage Worship Essentials also comes with drone tools. So that's a really cool feature, because if you are the only keyboardist in your church, and maybe you have a second keyboardist who can't come for rehearsal, and the second keyboardist is just mainly the pads player, well, then you have this thing in Mainstage Worship Essentials that basically does the job of that pads player. Same thing for Sunday keys, right? You don't have a pad player playing the pads for you, just holding the 1 and the 5. Sunday Keys and Worship Essentials does that. So I'm going to quickly demonstrate how that goes. So right now I'm on the first patch, and it's piano and pads. The name of the patch itself says piano and pads, but the actual instrument layering has piano, EP, and you know what? I might as well just play it for you, and then you can hear it as I talk. So right, you hear the piano sound. Now I'm just going to slide down the piano fader, turn on my EP fader. So that's the electric piano sound. Turn that off, turn up my pad. So that's the pad sound. Turn that down, turn up bass. Right? So that's my synth bass sound. You can turn it on if you want, if you're doing like a very synth kind of young and freestyle worship song, or if you're doing like a nice and quiet reflective thing, then just mute that and you have no more synth bass. Turn up arpeggio. Right? That is the arpeggio. So whatever it is you play, I'm just putting my fingers down, and then it kind of just automates the sound for you. You can change the tempo so that it it plays exactly at the speed you want. And then I'm going to turn down the arp and turn up the synth sound. So right? So that's the synth sound, and we hear this all the time in all these new songs, right? That's coming out. Like the industry is heading towards very electronic sounds. So really having something like Worship Essentials or Sunday Keys really helps you just keep so abreast in this industry. We're no longer just stuck with piano and strings, or even just normal warm pads, because there are just so many versions of everything. You've got the piano, but you can change the tone of the piano in here. So I'm just going to give you a quick demo of how this is how the piano normally sounds. But you can even change like the verb of the piano. So if I were to jack that up all the way and make the verb like super strong, right? So you could make that sound really, really echoey and reverbed. You could also turn up or down the compressor to make the piano sound a lot sharper. Right, so that's with the compressor jacked up all the way high, but if I were to turn the compressor down, the piano sounds a little bit more distant. You could also change the tone of the piano. So now piano tone's on 100%, but if I were to turn it all the way down, oh my gosh, you couldn't even hear that. So I guess I can't just turn it all the way to 0. Yeah, so now that sounds really muffled, and it's got this like soft kind of pedal feel. And guys, next to each instrument has got 3 buttons to change the sound even more. Okay, so this is the default, right? I haven't turned on any of the effects. So next to the piano layer, it's got, for example, octave. So if I turn on the octave button, what you hear now is, right? I'm just using one hand, guys. The other hand's just kind of chilling. I'm using one hand. And what that does for me is it's playing in octaves. So this is great for like the I see a generation inspiration. Na 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 na. Right? So if you listen to that song, Hosanna by Hillsong, it has got that octave piano riff. You don't have to use two hands. You can just turn on the octave button and it does the octave for you. I'm going to turn off the octave, turn on bright. That's piano with the bright sound. That's piano without the bright sound. You can turn on soft pedal. So as you can see, it becomes extremely muffled and very intimate. So if you're playing like a very intimate kind of right, so you can change the tone of the piano. It doesn't have to sound bright all the time. Just turn on the soft pedal button and it just instantly sounds soft. So guys, that's just one instrument. Like I said, this is just the first patch. There are 20 patches, and each of the instruments in each patch has got 3 of those buttons that you can turn on or off to change the quality of the sound. So there's like tons of customization, right? And so I'm just really scratching the surface a little bit here. And that's just piano, guys. The other function, and there's so many to talk about. I probably need to really pick and choose the most important because I need to get on to Sunday keys. But like, okay, so this is the other thing I really like about something like these Mainstage software. So if you use like a pad sound, and you explore the mod wheel, which is this wheel on the left side of your keyboard that you can scroll up or down. Sometimes it's attached to the expression pedal that you use your feet to control, your foot to control, right? What I love is you can create these cool So what I did was, ooh, that's a lot of pad verbs. I'm just going to turn the pad verb down so it doesn't like sustain for such a long time. But guys, that's just me shifting up the mod wheel with my left hand while my right hand's holding onto the chord so that it sounds a lot like this, from this warm, gentle, boring, safe pad to this really aggressive, synth-like, strong, high motion kind of sound that's great for maybe at a climax of a song, or maybe even something that's even more synth-like and dance-like, like Young and Free songs. So wow, like that was just so cool. And it's just one, guys. There's so many other pads in the rest of this template. The other really, really cool thing, guys, that the other day I was serving in church and one of the guys, the worship leader was like, can you make that pad sound a little bit like more shimmery? And it's got a shimmer function. So this thing, if I were to just turn this knob called shimmer, if I turn it up, it's going to sound increasingly shimmery on the top. So here's shimmer at 0. And I'm going to turn shimmer up gradually, okay? So that's shimmer at 100%. And my hands are off. And you can still hear that it's going on and on. So it creates this ethereal kind of worship moment that's really good for like whether it's a free worship moment or it's like just this nice, quiet, in-between song transition thing. It's awesome. So you could change that manually. So yeah, guys, this is just cool. So if you want to see even more of all of the functions inside Worship Essentials, go see the full, very basic Mainstage course inside the Inspire Keys Academy, because that's available for you to take a spin on for just $1. You get to try it for 2 whole weeks. But in the meantime, before I go on to Sunday Keys, I will now just kind of play around with a few patches, maybe just, and trust me guys, I didn't actually sit here to like go through the stuff. I'm just gonna spend about a minute and try some stuff and make them sort of have different combinations of effects so you can hear for yourself how awesome this is. And then you could think about maybe you really want to use it in your worship, in your church worship settings. So here we go. I'm just gonna play around with Cathedral Atmosphere. This is the second patch in the list. Never actually played with this before, but I do know that it's got a really, really cool organ sound that almost sounds kind of like spooky, but awesome. So all right, guys, I just hope that that was fun, like for you to just listen and check out the capabilities of Worship Essentials. So now I'm going to go straight on to Sunday Keys and show you guys what that can do. I'm just going to close up my Worship Essentials and open up Sunday Keys. And while I do this, please go ahead and type in any questions that you may have. And just starting it up. Now, Sunday Keys takes a little bit of time to load up. So at this point, I'd love to see if you have any questions or any comments or thoughts on what you heard. And I'd love to take that time to do this. So opening up Sunday Keys. Opening up Sunday Keys. So once again, guys, I do want to remind you that you can get some discounts for your Sunday Keys and Worship Essentials templates. If you do decide to get them, do use these discount codes. Oh, looks like I've gone. Okay, so hang on a sec, guys. Yep, just typing that into the chat so that you could get the discounts that you deserve as an Inspire Keys member. audience. So great. I am now on my Sunday keys template. Oh, cool. Okay, so it's got all my previously mapped assignments done, so I don't need to do all that, and it saves you time. If you want to see how I map my hardware to software, remember to access the very basic Mainstage course complete version inside the Academy. So what I'm going to show you right now is Sunday keys. Well, it's got a different layout, and I will not say that one template's better than the other because they're completely different, but at the same time, they both have some incredible capabilities. So the cool thing about Sunday keys, and I will explain this in depth in my full version of the course inside the Academy, it comes with this entire set of basic sounds. So you get all your pianos, your electric pianos, you get your pads, you get your dance synth sounds, you get organ, strings, arpeggios, synth bass, and then you can just choose any 4 of your favorite and combine them into one patch so that you can layer them however you like. So right now, what I am about to demonstrate is something that I've already done because I went through, like, I kind of just sat for an hour and I played through those core sounds, right? So those basic piano EPs and whatever. And then I picked my favorite worship piano. I picked my favorite electric piano sound, which is called the Time EP. I picked my favorite pad sound, which is called the Warm Pad. And I picked my favorite 4th sound, which is an ambient guitar, guys. Like, how cool is that? You can actually sound like a guitar on the keyboard. And this is great for people who don't have an electric guitarist in your worship team. And then you could just layer them and mute whatever layer you don't need, or turn it up halfway through the set if you wish. So I'm just gonna do a quick demo right now. Maybe I could just show you how they sound one by one. So, okay, so guys, that's just the worship piano on its own. If I were to bring up the EP, it's got a really, really sweet kind of bell shimmery sound. This is the Warm Pad. With a nice little bit of shimmer at the end. I also have this ambient guitar. How cool is that? My gosh, I've never sounded more like a guitar in my whole life. So yeah, all I did was just slide up and down the faders, right? So can you imagine the capabilities if you were to just try to just layer them and play them? Now, I didn't get to talk about this back in the Worship Essentials demo, but I will right now in Sunday Keys, because it's the same kind of effect, but it's done in a slightly different way. So for both of these templates, they're fantastic because they have this drone function for you. In Sunday Keys, it's called the tonic function. So what I'm going to do is just a demo real quick how to turn on the drone so that you can hear the drone on the background, and then you can just focus on playing whatever it is that you want to play on the piano, and the drone's settled for you. Okay, so I'm just gonna now play a drone in the key of C. So you can hear that drone sound right there. Yep. So basically, I'm not playing it, guys. It's sounding it on its own. And then you can even turn on the octave up, or you can turn it off and have it come back down. You can even turn on the motion so that it sounds like it's constantly evolving. So it's really, really cool. You can change the volume of it so that it's a lot softer if you feel like it's a bit too loud, or you can turn it up really loud. And if you want it to be on the move like it is right now, that on the move meaning it sounds like it's shimmery but not so shimmery. It's like it sounds very fast, but then it doesn't sound so fast anymore. So you can like turn on, you can change the speed of the motion. So if I want to change the speed, so you can hear how it's like moving real fast now. Yeah, really cool, but I find that's a bit too fast, so I'm not gonna turn on the speed so quickly. I'm just gonna keep it low. Okay, so guys, I'm just gonna demonstrate right now how cool the sounds are. Let's have some fun with this. And I'm going to turn off the tonic or the drone. And so what's cool is that I kind of just pressed the on button. I just pressed the on, which is basically to turn it off. And it just faded off very nicely. So you don't have to worry about like a clear cutoff. It just kind of faded off. So guys, I am really thankful that you joined me, because that's pretty much it for today's presentation segment. And up next, I just want to take questions. So if you're watching and you have questions about Mainstage, please feel free to ask. So I've got Yen asking, I'm thinking about starting off with a nano controller instead of a MIDI controller. Is that the best option? Yeah, I think, Yen, if you have a keyboard that already works with Mainstage, then you could also get a nano controller, because that is fantastic. Nano controller, if you could just Google it, the Korg Nano Control. It basically doesn't have the keys, like the black and the white keys like a piano, but it's got all the knobs and sliders and drum pads, buttons all there for you to easily assign your software and hardware options. So yes, Yen, go for it if you have a keyboard already. But if you don't already have a keyboard and you want to have all in one, then something like the Novation Launch Key. I mean, look, it's got the knobs, the sliders, the faders, the drum pads, and the keys on in one thing. So if you don't have anything, get something like this. It saves you from having to buy two different kinds of things. So Yen, that's a great question. Thank you for asking. David asks, have you ever had to switch between Worship Essentials and Sunday keys during a set, or do you usually set that up before the live set that you have to do on the Sunday? Yeah, I highly recommend sticking to just one. It takes a while to set up, to load up a concert. So, and it also depends on your laptop, right? Some people's laptop got like tons of documents in there and stuff. So it might take a while. So I highly suggest just getting one. So pick like just Worship Essentials for this Sunday's set, and maybe next Sunday use Sunday keys. And then that way you don't have to switch things around. You don't have to worry about like, oh, hurry up laptop. You know, like that's the last thing you want to deal with when you're in a live worship setting. You've got like people staring at you. And I mean, if you have to, like if you really want to use two different sounds, then I think the next best thing to do is to use two laptops and two sets of keys. But yeah, you do need to have a lot of hardware if you want to go that route. So, yeah, I will be using Mainstage for my next set, and I do plan to just pick one. So what I will do is, today I've just barely scratched the surface of the capabilities of these two very awesome worship templates. But what I do want you to do is to spend time, explore the sounds, turn on and off different effects and customization options, and check out what they're capable of, and then pick the sounds that are best for the songs that you guys are doing. And in my full, very basic Mainstage course, I show you exactly how you can prepare all the patches so that they flow according to the songs that you do on Sunday. So that way, because right now, just now when I was doing my demo, I was kind of mixing on the fly. So if you notice, my hands were kind of like sliding the sliders up and down. So I had more ambient guitar, less ambient guitar. So that's kind of like busy, right? Because you're in the middle of a worship set. The sound, the lights are turned down. Usually it's really dark on stage. You can't see what you're playing. And then it's very high risk if you turn up and down the wrong slider. So what you really need to do is to get all those patches saved with the settings exactly where you want them. So all you gotta do is press next, and then it becomes the sound that you want for that next song, and press next again. And that sound, the levels, the instrument layering is all set up for you, ready to roll in your worship set. So go access the full version of the very basic Mainstage course inside the Academy, and you will get to see exactly how to do that very conveniently. It's a lifesaver, and you don't have to stress about mixing in the live setting. Now, Yen asks, what audio interface are you using? So this whole audio interface thing is really interesting, because it's like it enhances the sound, but it almost isn't necessary as well. Right now, if you notice at the start of the video when I went through my hardware, I basically don't have an audio interface. I have one that I own, but I'm not using it. Basically, I'm just using the audio cable. I'm just connecting it straight into my portable speakers. But I do know that if you go to church and you play it in a large auditorium, they will recommend having an audio interface. So I do recommend, I have the Scarlett 2i2 and it's been very good. I don't always use it because, as you can tell, I can demonstrate Mainstage without using it. So part of this video is really to tell everybody you don't even need an audio interface. You just have something to plug into. I've played in a church where the sound guy just goes, here, this is the cable, just plug it in. And I'm like, cool, plug it in and we're ready to roll. And he was just able to adjust the sound as if he was playing like a presentation from a computer, right? Because this is all computer generated sounds. So depends on how your sound team wants to do it. But yen, go ahead and invest in a audio interface or get your church to do it if you guys need one. So I will say go consult your sound team regarding that. So David says thanks, and I say thanks too, guys. There are some of us who are watching and you haven't introduced yourself, but that's completely fine because I just want to show you my appreciation for the time that you spent to be with us here at whatever time zone you're in, whichever part of the world you're in. I really hope that you find this presentation helpful. Most importantly, I want you to walk away realizing that Mainstage is really awesome. It's a game changer for your worship team. It's very easy. You don't need a ton of soft and hardware. You just need those basic stuff and you can get it up and rolling. And remember that you can get 10% off if you use the discount codes and links from as described in the description box below. Yen says thanks. I say a huge thank you to you as well. So you know what, guys? I really hope this was helpful. If you're watching the replay, right? Because clearly not everyone's able to join us live, and that's okay. Comment below any comments, questions, and yeah, I would love to answer them. And I look forward to speaking with you guys in my next YouTube live. Just in case you don't know, I will be coming on YouTube live every single day this week to answer your worship keys questions. It could be about Mainstage, it could be about anything else. So go to inspiredkeys.com/schedule, and I'm just going to type that in here, inspiredkeys.com/schedule, and see when I am coming back online next, because when you attend a live teaching session, you will also get to ask questions, and I would love to interact with you and answer your questions as well. So as a live attendee, you do get a participation reward that way. But if you want, you can also submit your questions to me first ahead of time. You could email me at sandra@inspiredkeys.com, and or you could just comment below and I will still get your messages anyways. And I would love to see you in the future YouTube live video. Once again, if you want to join the Inspired Keys Academy, you could take it for a spin for 2 whole weeks for just $1. So go ahead and go to inspiredkeys.com/join and enter dollar trial in the discount code blank, and you get to be in the academy for 2 whole weeks for $1. And try it out, see if you like it. That you can cancel anytime. And remember that the whole full version of the very basic Mainstage course is available inside. So if you felt like today's session was helpful, you will want to access the full version, because I'm going to show you exactly how to set everything up ready for your Sunday service when you go through those 4 songs or however many songs you guys do. So thank you so much for watching. I'm going to go drink some water and talk to you guys through some other avenues and go answer some questions from Inspired Keys Academy members. So I will see you guys in the next teaching session. Bye and take care and God bless.